The car has hijacked the focus of the city away from the people that inhabit it. We live in a time where around 50% of the space in cities is dedicated to car-centric infrastructure, from roads to parking places to bridges and tunnels. Moreover, cars contribute to the adverse effects of climate change, pollute the air we breathe, and jeopardize global health. Because of this, we need more sustainable, equitable, and accessible mobility landscapes, a new scenario in which urban infrastructure is human-centric. Yet, how will a scenario like that impact our lives? What will future cities look like? And mainly, what role will the vehicles of tomorrow have? Join us while we do a deep dive into the future of mobility.
To answer these questions, we must first understand past transitions, the current context, and the requirements for the future of transportation. The evolution of mobility has been woven into the fabric of urban life, shaping the history and development of cities. As civilizations progressed, so did their means of moving. In the past century, the rapid progression of technology, fueled by the Industrial Revolution, accelerated these transitions into an unprecedented rate. From the wheel to the automobile, transportation has shifted towards seamlessly greater efficiency in moving goods and people. At the same time, cities like Amsterdam have continuously been adapting to enable those innovations.
Today's modern cities house complex networks of roads and highways that facilitate the movement of millions of people and goods. This accelerated development has created a system that, though impressive, cannot sustain itself in the long run and is unhealthy for urban habitats. In light of excessive pollution, lack of space, and climate change, there is urgency to discover new ways of facilitating sustainability in our cities. There is a need for a paradigm shift where our transport is conceived and constructed with humanity at the forefront.
However, although we know that there is a need to change the system, we can be sure that vehicles will not completely disappear from our lives. In the end, they are a huge part of it, and without them, certain activities could not take place. So how can they contribute to the transition?
A team of metropolitan researchers explored the challenges and possible factors playing a role in this shift. What new vehicle functions would be required? Would it only be necessary to change what energizes our transportation, or should more aspects be considered? By talking to both experts, but also getting to the heart of issues and approaching commuters and residents of Amsterdam, the team went on a quest to find answers. They discovered that the current system lacks proper accessibility, affordability, and inclusivity.
However, the story doesn't end there. By working together with experts in co-creation sessions, the team gazed into the crystal ball to better understand the demands that will be placed upon the vehicles of tomorrow.
Resource scarcity, because it also means that we have to make maybe more to have that security.
Say the risk is a kind of resistance against collective mobility.
Yeah, but what if we make them part of the opportunity?
And it doesn't have to be expensive. A lot of people think when they think about more sustainable traveling, they think about the train being more expensive, they think about electric cars being more expensive, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Can't you use materials that are already in the individual vehicles?
To
reuse the material?
Yeah, that would be very circular.
Yeah.
I think it's more about sort of getting it to connect to existing infrastructure.
Availability and reliability.
Of course, yeah. And that's with a lot of aspects that are not related to the privately owned vehicle.
They discovered that having to deal with behavioral change, scarcity of resources, changes in the current infrastructure and policies, and ensuring that in all actions taken by humans, nature also has its voice, will be important.
We believe that in the end we want a car light city, so to move a lot of cars outside of the city because they take up a lot of space and they are unsafe for the other users of the city center.
The city of the future look like if I'm in my house and just looking outside, what do I see? That there were no big and individual vehicles in the city. So a vehicle-free city, that the only way that you can transport there is with community-based or community-owned vehicles.
My idea for the future of mobility is a vehicle that can solve logistics problems. Goods mobility, you need some kind of input to make goods mobility happen. So then we have to be a bit creative, and goods mobility also has the potential to be a lot heavier. It also makes sense to use larger vehicles for goods mobility, and by using larger vehicles, usually the economics of it makes more sense to bring a lot of goods at the same time, and that's where it causes problems for cities.
Actually, we will walk and cycle a lot in like the real center of the cities, but there will be also a need for like a roofed four-wheeler besides that, because not everybody can cycle. For example, people with young children a lot of times stop with using shared mobility if they get kids. So there are quite a lot of use patterns that are not covered by only cycling and walking. So
people mobility, I think the solution, or one of the solutions, is combining the flexibility of cycling with the train. So you have a high capacity system that requires density at both ends, and then combining that with a flexible low capacity system like cycling. Cycling is a privilege, but cycling infrastructure is not a privilege. I think cycling infrastructure is very basic. So tackling cycling also brings about infrastructure that accommodates wheels. And once we have infrastructure that accommodates wheels, then there's all sorts of mobility aids that can be put on top of that infrastructure.
We need, especially in the city where space is very scarce, we need to share assets to make optimal use of the available space. Well, of course, this addresses only one of the issues of that, but imagine all the space that not only roads but also parking facilities take up now, and imagine that they could be used also for other things that people use, like to play, to relax, to sit, to walk. So there will be a lot more space for other activities than mobility alone.
While attempting to grasp all those aspects playing a role in the transition, the team started to put the puzzles together to discover how, instead of banning the car, could we embrace our future vehicles to help us tackle all those issues. The mobility transition presents a multitude of challenges, but it also offers a wealth of opportunities to create more sustainable, equitable, and accessible cities. We need to carefully consider the challenges and develop innovative solutions to overcome them. While transitions are difficult, especially because it is hard to understand what is awaiting at the end, it is important to be creative and open to all sorts of different opportunities.
So, what if we could build a future where vehicles help cities reach their goals, look after our health and well-being, and solve the challenges by empowering communities through mobility, enhancing safety, educating children, and providing care and support for the elderly or vulnerable neighbors, serving as a green battery by seamlessly storing energy and actively filtering CO2 from the atmosphere, catering for different uses, such as providing cargo transport at night and transforming into flexible workspaces or meeting rooms during the day, or assuring urban harmony by maintaining green spaces, providing habitat for wildlife, and transforming into mobile restaurants for animals.
The mobility transition is a complex and multifaceted challenge, but it is also an opportunity for transformative change. By embracing the transition through widespread collaboration, we can create a better future. A future where our streets are no longer isolated passageways for vehicles, but arteries that pulsate with life, connecting people to places, communities to cultures, and individuals to their shared aspirations.